Hello everybody and welcome to my first Christmas video for my 2013 series. I cannot believe I'm doing Christmas videos already, so crazy. But I wanted to get the jump on this one because it actually is for a special cause. This is the CC Designs Roberto's Rascals image called I Want That. And this one, and along with the Henry Claus image, is part of a little campaign that is running from October 4th, 2013 to December 23rd, 2013, in which CC Designs will donate 30% of all the sales of these two stamps to the Toys for Tots campaign. So really great way to kind of support a good cause with stamping. So for this image, I super sped it up. Like this is at like 800%. The coloring, just because this is a huge image. It's actually nearly, how big would it be? It's about 3.5 inches square roughly, so it's quite a large image. Really fun for coloring. I had stamped it onto the CC Designs Copic Quality 80-pound cardstock with my Memento Tuxedo Black ink, and then I just quickly trimmed around it with scissors, and then I'm just using a ton of Copics to color. And I found the easiest way to color this was to just do like one color at a time sort of thing. Like I color all the brown images, or all the areas I wanted, you know, brown once. And then I went back in with a darker color, etc., etc. I'm not doing a ton of like shading and detail coloring and all that because it's such a detailed image that you would just kind of lose that anyway. And honestly, it's, yeah, it doesn't really matter. So I did kind of all the brown images first, and then blended a little bit here and there, like used 2 or 3 colors and did a bit of blending on, mostly like on the little main characters and any of the really larger areas. But for all the smaller spots, didn't bother with blending at all. I just put the color on and then good to go. So I'm using lots of Christmas colors, obviously, kind of keeping the color palette simple as well. Because again, detailed images with lots to color, it just works easier if you kind of keep the colors as simple as possible. One, it makes it look better, and two, you don't have a lot of color going on and just crazy chaos and all that stuff. So it was actually kind of fun to sit down and just color this. And then obviously, one, I sped it up on here for lack of time because otherwise this video would be forever long. And two, I didn't see the need to kind of explain every single color that I used and why, because yeah, I kept it simple. I'm not doing anything super fabulous. So I just sat and colored and kind of had fun with it. And then while I was doing it, I thought how fun this would be to just stamp this out and let my kids color a couple up, and then they could make their own little cards and stuff for Christmas too. So I think I might end up doing that too, because this is just kind of one of those images. It just made me think of kind of a coloring book as I was coloring it. I'm like, this was kind of fun. It was different anyway. So I just colored and colored. It was a little more difficult to color because it's also on my, like, it was off to the side for me. Like, that's how I film my videos. So if I could have just sat and colored without a video camera, I think I would have enjoyed it even more. And I did at one point because my camera battery actually died while I was filming this. And rather than waiting for my camera battery to be charged, yada yada yada, I was like, oh, whatever. So while it was charging, I just sat and finished coloring the rest of the image and really enjoyed it. It was just kind of fun to just sit and do that. So once I got the entire image done, as you can see, I decided to mat it on a piece of black cardstock. So I added just my ATG adhesive to it, stuck it onto the black cardstock, and then I just used my scissors to trim around it again. Since it's not straight lines, it was really simple. Just go around and cut out a bit of a frame for the image. And then the pattern paper I'm using is the new Doodlebug Deck the Halls, or Home for the Holidays, sorry. Home for the Holidays 6x6 pattern papers. So that's also where I got the colors for the main image from. It's just the different shades of green and a couple different shades of red. And then my go-to super favorite May Arts Textures ribbon. So I wrapped that around the card front and then tied it off, or taped it down on the back, sorry. My brain and my mouth are not connecting again today. And then used the second piece to tie a bow. And then I grabbed my Marvy LaPlume white pigment pen just to add a few little highlights here and there, some polka dots, a few stripes, just because I could, basically. And then I'm just going to adhere that down onto the card. So once I've done that, the sentiment is from my new Happy Christmas stamp set. And this stamp specifically, I thought, went really well with this image and this cause. So I stamped that onto a piece of green cardstock, and then I just punched it out with a circle punch. And then I punched out a second circle with a slightly larger one from the pattern paper in the pack. They've got a solid red paper in there. So I punched that out and then adhered those together, and then adhered that to my card. And then for another embellishment, I pulled out my CC Designs Holly and Berry Cutters dies, and I die cut the leaves from a darker green cardstock and then the berries from a red cardstock, and just run that through my die cut machine a few times. And adhere those down again with my Tombow Mono Multi. That's my go-to liquid glue. And then the brads are from Doodlebug again, but these are from a few years ago, I think, and something that I have been hoarding again. So I pulled those out because, of course, the colors still match, and attached those to the bottom of the card front. Because, yeah, it's time to start using up some of the stuff that I've had sitting for way too many years. And once that was done, I'm adhering that to the card base. This is actually a 5.5-inch square card. I thought I would do a larger card to kind of frame an image like this. And then you can see I've actually attached the stamp to my Cuttlebug cutting plate. I did a video on this a while ago under my quick tip videos on how to use large stamps like this rather than buying just a really large acrylic block. Just use one of your cutting plates. It just has to be flat, obviously. So I used that, and I inked up the stamp with a green ink, stamped it onto scratch paper first, re-stamped it again onto the white cardstock so that it was second generation, so it's a lot paler, because that's obviously where you're going to write something. So I still wanted the image to show, but I wanted it really pale so you could write over it without that interfering with when you write your message. And then I added the holly and berries again, and then the sentiment is from my other new Christmas set. This is Joyful Greetings, and I stamped it onto the same green cardstock again with my VersaFine Onyx Black. And this was another sentiment that I thought was absolutely perfect for this image and this cause. So stamped that, and then I trimmed it down with my paper trimmer and adhered that to the inside of the card, which again is, I just used the exact same pattern papers that I used on the outside, kept the layout the same, just kept it simple. And then, of course, I couldn't leave it as is. I had to add a few stickles. So I used frosted lace stickles on all the little bits of snow. So that just kind of gives a bit of more texture than glitter. And then I used my Stardust stickles on the image and just dabbed it here and there to give it some bling, and then added some to the holly and the leaves. And that's all there was to it. So as always, there will be a link below to my blog post with links to all the supplies used and to these stamps and everything else. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye!